once you've done all of your payrolls for the year in Techlify HR and they've been approved, Techlify will generate your yearly reports for you, the GRA statutory reports being the Form 2 and the Form 7. Now, in order to generate these reports, you go to the reports section under your payroll module. So let's go ahead and click reports there. And you'll see a host of reporting options here. So let's go ahead and generate the Form 2A report as a starter. Now, there are a host of options for this report. You are first able to specify what year you're generating this report for. So over time, as you use Techlify HR, you can go back to a previous year, even if it's 5, 6, 7 years ago, and generate the report because that data is in the system. And this is one of the reasons why we encourage you to ensure your old salaries and so on are not overridden, but they're just closed and stored within Techlify HR, so all of that data is referenceable. In our test data here, we don't have anything for 2024, so I'll go ahead and select 2025 here, and now you'll see all 4 employees rather, where I have payrolls for 2025 show up here. You can also generate this report by branch, by department, as you need. So you can filter, let's say we wanted this report only for our engineering team. Maybe you just wanted to recheck to ensure everything is good. You can do that. And then you're able to specify what data you want to show up on this report, whether it's non-taxable allowances, non-taxable commissions, non-taxable other income, right? Whatever data are required in the filing, you can select that. And I will get into this inclusive feature soon. You also have a few other options. So if you wanted to group your taxable allowances into your salary, so instead of showing your gross salary and allowances separate, it's all just considered your salary. You can also specify that you want to show employees that didn't pay PAYE and also group non-taxable bonuses with your salary. So these are a few options that, again, based on your organization's policy, you can group and specify. So now let's just add the data and go with the default options. We'll say, hey, generate the Forms 2A for me for all employees, and I hit generate. Now what happens here is that you will see all of the data as per your payrolls get pulled into this report. Now a quick point of note is that you'll see that Jenny is only earned, all right, let's look at John rather, has only earned $195,000 for the year. But if we go back here, we do remember that John is in the May fixed rated payroll, and he has earned, well, let's see what he's earned. Yep, 195. And then if we go to our June payroll as well, John would have also earned some amount. And let's see what that 190 should, so that should be around 386,000 the showing up on the Form 2. The problem here is that our Form 2 only considers approved payroll. So if a payroll is not approved and it's pending, it will not be considered in your yearly reports or any reports for that matter. Right? So if we go back here, again, we'll see all the details and as per GRA's format. Now, of course, GRA now requires that we submit the Form 2 online. So if you click on this button, the e-submission is downloaded for you. Let me go ahead and open that. And GRA has a standard for the file naming. You'll see we have the file name within that standard, and all of the data as is needed by the GRA specification for this Form 2 is generated for you. So you can download this and just go ahead and submit to your GRA online portal. Similar to Form 2, you can generate Form 7. So come back to reports, click Form 7B, and once again, because I had no employees that I paid for 2024, nothing shows up here. Let me select 2025, and I'm seeing Jenny, John, and Patricia. Now, just one point of note, something I wanted to highlight is that once again, we do have MANA on a payroll, which is for June. However, because this payroll is not approved, MANA as well will not show up on this report. Similar to the Form 2, you have a host of options, so you can generate your reports by branches or departments. Form 7 is an employee-specific report, so let's go ahead and generate it for our engineering team. And once again, you can specify data options, and Form 7 has the ability for you to select what other income types need to be there based on what other income types you have added for your organization and what you use, and depending on what the requirements are for these, so you're able to customize that. And we do have similar other options here that match up with Form 2. So I'll go ahead and select Form 7. Now, a quick point of note is that Form 7s, you can generate them for a single employee or you can bulk generate them. And do take note of the information on the right side here. There are a host of details that can guide you in how you go about selecting what data needs to show up on this form. Now let's just go ahead and generate. And there we go. We have the Form 7s for Pat and for John Aiton, who are the two employees within the engineering team. If I click print, we'll notice that each Form 7 is printed on a separate page, so you don't have to worry about this. You can bulk generate and just go ahead and print them, and each will be printed on its own page. And that is how you generate your Form 7s. Now, I wanted to take a quick step back here. You'll notice that in both your Form 7 and your Form 2, there's this option for inclusive date. All right. Now, what this does is that this is useful for organizations that have a payroll spanning multiple months, right? So if your organization runs your payroll maybe from the mid of one month to the mid of the next, or you're doing fortnightly payroll, which will span other months, you can tell Techlify HR, hey, the end date of the payroll is what you'll use to determine which year it falls in. So if you have a payroll that ran from December 15, 2024 to January 14, 2025, and you use the end date, Techlify HR will consider the end date, meaning January 14, 2025, and see that, hey, this is within the year 2025, so that payroll should be included in the aggregation, right? And that's what the point of this field is. Now, if I let's generate back our Form 7s, you'll also see some options for a custom start date and a custom end date here. These fields are once again useful for the same scenario I just explained, because for those organizations where your payroll runs from mid of one month to the mid of the next, for 2025, your payrolls that form your 2025 year would be from, let's say, the 15th of December 2024 to the 14th of December 2025. Those are the set of payrolls that will form your 7B and 2A yearly reporting. Now, Techlify HR pulls the start date from your first payroll and the end date from your last payroll and fills these dates. So the dates we will have here for Techlify HR would be 2024 December 15th to 2025 December 14th. Now, you would obviously want to adjust that to being January 1st, 2025. So we can go ahead and do that to December 31st, 2025. And we can go ahead and do that. Now, the form here does not change for reasons because, one, we haven't reached the end, and two, in the case of John and Pat, their salaries started on May the 1st, so obviously we can't have that started, but this here is the use case for these features.